How many of you out there watching have workshops in a storage shed? How about a garage? How about a basement? If you're like me, you don't have a 1,000 square foot shop, you don't have tools that cost $1,000 or more a piece, and you definitely don't have a cyclone that'll suck the paint off a Buick. Hey everyone, my name is Sam, and welcome to Samcraft. So come with me as we take a tour through my 16 by 16 foot workshop inside of a storage shed. Walking in the doors of my workshop, here we have the automatic self-heated glue and finish cabinet. It's basically just a cabinet to hold glues and a few of my finishes with a thermostatic controller that will turn on this light bulb when the temperature reaches 35 degrees and turns it off whenever it reaches 45 degrees. What this does is effectively keep everything inside the cabinet above freezing temperatures, which is great because I do not have climate control, heat, or air conditioning in my shop. Right below the cabinet here on the wall is a drop-down wall-mounted table that allows me to take pictures for products that I make in my workshop. A portion of my income is actually derived from me making utensils and small things in my workshop that I sell online at craft shows and then a couple of little retail stores here and there. As such, product photography, good product photography, is key. Having the table allows me to have a dedicated spot that for the most part will stay clean because it stays folded up and ready to go when I need it to take pictures to list things online. Coming on into the corner is my lathe. It's a Nova Comet 2 MIDI lathe on top of a self-built 2x6 lathe stand. Against the wall I have a rudimentary French cleat style storage. I've got one rack for all my tools with tools spilling out of the top as well, so I guess I need to make a bigger one. I've got a shelf that holds a couple of bits and pieces, face shield. This is a little camera mount for my GoPro, and then a couple of other accessories here on the wall. To the right of the wood lathe is a small benchtop grinder. This is a Wind model. It's probably the cheapest one you can find. I believe it's an 8-inch grinder. It is not variable speed, but I bought a variable speed controller that plugs into it that makes it variable speed. So in a sense, I have a slow speed grinder for a fraction of the cost. Moving on down the line, right above the grinder is a monstrous mound of clamps. This is my current clamp storage, and it's on the really short to-do list to make this a lot better and probably move it somewhere else. But for now, that's where they live. At least I can see how lucky I am to have that many clamps. Below the clamps is my shop heater. It's a cabinet style propane heater that is about an 18,000 BTU output and uses the little 20-pound propane tanks for barbecue gas grills. The heater's on wheels, so I can move it all around the shop as I need to, and I really like it so far. I've had it for a couple of months. Above the heater is a very small fan mounted to help circulate the air around the shop and kind of push the heat around as I need to. In addition, it's there for whenever I don't have heat to add a little bit of breeze in the shop as well. Let's go on down the wall and let's take a look at the #1 organization and shop improvement that I've done to maximize my space. Here we have the rotating benchtop tool carousel. This is made out of basic materials, 2x4s, plywood, PVC, and various small bits like that. Nothing special. In fact, anything you can get at Harbor Freight or any kind of other hardware store, you can make one of these. On top of the tool carousel is my drill press. This is a 12-inch model Delta. It's an older style and I got it used off of Craigslist, I believe, for 40 bucks. To the left of the drill press is my combo benchtop sander. It's a Craftsman model 4x36 belt sander and I think a 5-inch disc sander. I primarily used the belt sander on that, so I couldn't really quote you very well on the disc, but it's very good. Also another used tool find off Craigslist. To the right of the drill press is actually one of the newest tools in my shop, and that is a PowerTech brand 1x30 strip belt sander. I got this off of Amazon. It was the cheapest sander of its style. I've been using it for a while and I love it. Behind the drill press and in the corner, because it's the tool I use the least out of this whole setup over here, is my Hitachi scroll saw. I got the scroll saw at least 10 years ago. I did not buy it used. I bought it new, so boop, new tool. But It's one of the tools that I probably should not have got because the amount of times I've used it in the decade has been really low. But I've got it, so might as well keep it, right? Moving on to the back wall here of the shop, you will see something probably kind of dominates the area. No, not me. The TV, guys. The TV. I had a friend who asked me, "Hey, Sam, you want a TV?" I was like, huh. Does it work? Yeah. Huh, okay. It's flat screen. Oh, okay. Yes. Sold. So I've got it in my shop and I love having it. I don't necessarily love how it dominates this area, so it might get moved to a different spot of the shop, but regardless, it is fun to have down here as I'm working. I can have a movie on, I can have YouTube on, I can have all sorts of stuff playing, music, all sorts of things. Plus, it enables me to stay down here longer and work longer. Against the wall here beside the TV is my current solution for a tool wall. It's not the greatest, but it does okay. And below it is a dresser that I got for free with drawers that's full of hand tools and small like screwdrivers, hammers, hardware. Got some bolts and nuts bins in there and stuff like that. And then on top of the dresser is my hardwood storage. Doing mostly wood turning in my shop, having turning blanks and having hardwoods of that sort is what I usually use the most as opposed to longboards or flat wood stock. So having it here in front of me where I can see it, I can visually kind of take inventory, know what I should get, know what I shouldn't get, is really, really handy. So for me, I like having the strap wood or stock wood where I can see it. Here on the right side of my tool wall, I have my Craftsman cordless drill and impact driver. My most recent tool purchase, right before the PowerTech sander, was a Craftsman 20 volt 8-piece cordless tool combo kit. Here's 2 of them. The other 6, there's 3 there and there's 2 over there. They're kind of scattered. They're like the Lost Boys off of Peter Pan. I really need to kind of collect them together and build a nice dedicated area to have them to where I can easily reach and see and look at. Because, you know, we're all about looking at our tools, right? Over here on the wall, you'll see a couple of hand saws. They're in pretty rough shape. They're yard sale finds, and I had the idea of restoring them. Maybe I'll get around to that. And then we have my lumber storage. This file cabinet here is an old one that I inherited from my father, and it does well for storing a lot of various bits and pieces I have. One of the drawers are totally full of finishes and spray lacquers and stuff along that sort, and the other 2 have, I believe that one has saw blades, and this one has a lot of electrical cords and stuff like that. Just general junk stuff. Speaking of junk stuff, ta-da! This is the wall of shelves and bins, and this is my current solution for storing junk stuff. As you can see, it's not too pretty to look at, but it is an organizational structure system. It allows me to group things by what they are, put them in their own little box, and label it so that I know very easily that's my Craig jig, there's my paint rollers and brushes, there's galvanized nails, and there's parts for my car for maintenance things that I keep putting off. I should get to that soon, shouldn't I? Yeah. Below the shelves here is what used to be the home of my wood lathe before I built its dedicated stand. This is kind of an underutilized area in my shop, and it's something that I want to be working on maximizing and organizing to the best of its ability in the near future. I'm standing in what used to be called the storage side of my workshop. In fact, I used to have a false wall, kind of a hidden door, right here in this section that now is a doorway. I've been working a lot in the past couple of weeks to really get this room organized and set up to eventually become a dedicated mechanic / automotive / it's not woodworking related, so stick it in here, little room of my shop. Behind this door is my home office. In addition to making money from woodworking, I also work part-time from home in the computer arena or IT field. So it's nice to have a dedicated spot that's quiet, that is dust-free. Dust-free is a big one, and that's what this duct up here is for. It's a filter that gives it a positive air pressure environment, yada, yada, yada. But that's my home office, so I'm down here a lot. And otherwise, that's what's in that little cubby room. Over here in our last corner of the shop is an entire space that I deliberately gave away. I gave this whole space to my 2 sons. My oldest is 7 years old and he loves to be in the workshop as much as I do. Actually, probably more. He has his own workbench, his own toolbox, his own tools, his own scrap woods, his own everything that I can give him. One so he doesn't get into my stuff as much, which doesn't always happen. But 2, to go ahead and start instilling in him the values of doing things yourself, taking care of your own things, and as he is able to earn money, buying new tools. So that's his spot. So here's the look at the main central part of my workshop. We have my table saw. This is a Rigid brand 10-inch table saw. My router is built into an extension wing over at the right. And then to the left is my workbench. And then I have my bandsaw, my jointer, and my planer. Those 3 are on wheels. This is a fairly new layout for me. Prior to this, my workbench was against the wall. And those 2 tools, I don't know, they were somewhere in the shop. I really like having this new layout because it gives me access to my workbench on 3 sides. It ties the table saw in together, but doesn't make my workbench automatically have to be an outfeed table. And it also gives me the ability to have my bandsaw, planer, and joiner in a central location, but I can move them around as need be. Another benefit of this is I can actually walk around this entire tool island, I guess you would say. I can get to my router table over here. I can step through and use my bandsaw for small things. I can easily slide it out, cut through my stuff, put it back in place. Same way with the joiner. I can run it through here. And the planer, because it's such a mess, usually goes to the front porch and shoots the shavings outside for additional walkway mulch. I do have plans on upgrading this workbench in the near future because as it has become off of the wall and become more of a central location of my workshop, its flaws and design problems have really come to light. It needs a new top on it, one that is very strong and sturdy, and I really need to invest in 1, if not 2, good quality woodworking vices. In addition to that, of course, I'll put the holes in it for bench dogs and kind of cool little gadgets here and there if I can. But just having a more solid workbench would be great in my book. When I was working on putting together my thoughts about making my shop tour, I polled my subscribers here on my YouTube channel and asked you guys, what are some things you want me to cover? Or what questions do you have for me? I wrote them down, so let's cover those now. Connie asks about dust collection plans or my current setup. Connie, this is a great question. Currently, my dust collection plan or setup is a window and a fan in the other window. In the short term, I want to get my shop vac, which right now kind of rolls around and kind of cleans up the mess after the fact, connected to my tools and have the right adapters put in place so I can begin to collect the dust at the source with my shop vac. That'll be first up on my shop dust collection system. In the future, I will be using a dust collector that is actually mounted below the floor of my workshop beside my air compressor and have it as a more dedicated, permanent, I guess more traditional dust collection system in my workshop. I don't have the parts yet, and I've still been kind of scratching my head as far as stationary tool layout, and you know, truth be told, that's kind of my excuses, so that's why it's not been hooked up yet. Grant asks about sharpening turning tools with the lathe, that he's kind of concerned with maintenance. Well, when I got started in wood turning, I had 2 choices, which everyone who's getting started in wood turning has 2 choices nowadays when it comes with your tools. You can get the traditional solid steel, sharpen them yourself, or you can get the more expensive carbide replaceable bit styles and go that route. At the time of me getting my lathe, it was cheaper for me to get a traditional set of the steel tools plus the bench grinder and learn to sharpen the tools myself that way than it was to get a set of the carbide tools. Since then, and as of recently, I've picked up 2 carbide turning tools and they are nice. I like them. I have a lot more to cover in this subject, but I want to save it for an upcoming series about getting started or wood turning 101. The next question comes from A-Rod, who wants to know what is my favorite power tool and what's my favorite hand tool. Well, the power tool one is very easy for me. It's my wood lathe. I love it. It's the only tool in my shop that you can take a raw tree or a log, stick it on it, and when you get that wood back off that machine, you have a finished item. As far as my favorite hand tool, this one's probably going to be a surprise to some of you guys, and it's this tool. This very affordable $20-something Beavercraft brand spoon gouge or bent gouge. The reason this is my favorite hand tool is because this is a gateway tool. Getting this tool has introduced me into the world of wood carving and has made me become very interested in it and had me put it on my whiteboard as a skill to learn this year. I want to get more into actual wood carving of traditional mallet and gouges, as well as spoon carving and stuff like that. So hopefully you guys are interested and you'll come along with me as I learn that new skill this year. A-Rod also asked if I could upgrade one tool in my shop, what would it be? He further defined it as one power tool and one hand tool. Well, the power tool that I would upgrade if I could is this right here, my bandsaw. Currently I have a Craftsman 10-inch model benchtop. It's done great over the years. I really don't have any complaints or issues, with the exception of the depth of cut for this guy is limiting. I would love to have something larger, just for the larger depth of cut. As far as what hand tool I would upgrade, yikes. I honestly can't think of a hand tool I have that I want to upgrade. I don't know. Maybe I'm easily pleased. I don't know, man. Even my cheap little flea market hand plane, I love it. Any flaws or problems with that hand plane is because I've not taken the time to tune it up and sharpen it right. So it's not the tool's fault, it's mine. Sorry, A-Rod, I don't have a clear answer for you, and I guess I'll let you down on that one. And the last question came from a viewer of a channel called Design and Make. He wanted to know about what lathe recommendations would I have. I'm going to save that one for my wood turning series as well, but it'll be coming up soon, so don't worry. As you can tell, my shop is a constant state of progress. It's always going to be improved upon, and as such, I've built a custom playlist for this called Building a Better Workshop. It's where all of my shop projects or shop improvements go, and there'll be a link to that playlist in the description below, as well as any other pertinent videos, say of the lathe stand that I built, my rotating benchtop tool carousel, and stuff along those lines. I do appreciate you all watching. Hopefully you've stuck to the end. If you have, give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. And I look forward to having you along in 2020 in my workshop, and you come in to see what creations, things I get into, and solutions I come up with in my small workshop. Until next time, be safe and have fun.